Thank you guys, I love you all. I made it past the 10% point in becoming a full channel. When I get past the 1,000 subscriber point, one of my goals will be getting better AI voice. So please understand this is the best I can do for now. If you like the story, please support to help it grow to that point. The male lead threw away a black card. My broke soul picked it up. Big mistake. Now I'm cursed to protect the villainess from a school that runs on gossip. Main story. I did not wake up in a hallway with dramatic sunlight on my face. I woke up with half my head inside a marble fountain, choking on water that tasted expensive. Which honestly was a new low. In my last life, I died because a vending machine ate my last $3 and I shook it like it owed me child support. The machine fell. I fell. The universe looked at my unpaid rent, my maxed out credit card, my sad cup noodles, and apparently decided this idiot deserved another round. So there I was, coughing into a fountain at Ashborne Collegiate, the kind of private school where the grass looked richer than my old landlord. My blazer was dry, my shoes were Italian, and my reflection in the water belonged to someone who had never checked a bank balance before buying eggs. Cassian Vale. Side character, rich boy, background simp, human wallet with cheekbones. The second I saw my face, the memories hit me like a truck with designer wheels. This was not Earth, or maybe it was Earth after being slapped by a romance author with too much caffeine. I had been reborn inside a cheap academy novel my coworkers used to hate read during lunch breaks. The title was something embarrassing like When the Scholarship Prince Loved Me. I never read it myself. I only heard the plot while microwaving instant noodles and pretending not to listen. The male lead was Callum Price, poor, handsome, proud, allergic to gratitude. The heroine was Leora Bell, delicate, sweet, and somehow always standing under good lighting while crying. The villainess was Maribel Thorn, heiress of a finance empire, famous for chasing Callum with gifts, favors, and the emotional intelligence of an overturned shopping cart. And me. Cassian Vale, son of the Vale family, good at tennis, bad at boundaries, and fated to become Leora's backup wallet. In the original story, I followed her around like a wet golden retriever. I paid for her books, her tuition emergencies, her mother's hospital bills, and eventually, after Callum became successful, I was repaid with betrayal, bankruptcy, and a cold funeral no one attended. Lovely. Very motivating. I dragged myself out of the fountain and looked around. Students had gathered in a perfect half-circle, because rich teenagers apparently form audiences faster than fire drills. At the center of the crowd stood Maribel Thorn herself. She was holding a black card between two fingers. Not just black, too black, like it swallowed light. The edge shimmered with a thin silver line that made my eyes itch. Across from her stood Callum Price, wearing a school blazer that had been repaired at the cuff, and a face that said he practiced contempt in the mirror. Leora Bell was beside him, small hands folded over her chest. Her eyes were already wet. Impressive. The semester had just started and she had hydrated for battle. Callum, Maribel said, trying very hard not to sound desperate. It is only a campus expense card. You said your scholarship stipend was delayed. I only wanted to help. Callum's expression turned colder than convenience store chicken. Help, he said. You mean buy me? The crowd breathed in at once. Here we go. Leora stepped forward, voice soft but loud enough for every phone camera. Maribel, people like us may not have private chefs and drivers, but we still have dignity. You cannot swipe a card and purchase someone's pride. Beautiful, 10 out of 10. A perfect little speech. If dignity could pay tuition, she would be a billionaire. Maribel's face went red. Her fingers trembled. The card pulsed once. Wait. Pulsed. Callum snatched the card from her hand and flung it. It spun through the air like a tiny black guillotine, skipped once on the marble floor, and slid toward the fountain. Right toward me. My body moved before my brain could apply for permission. 27 years of poverty screamed, free money on the floor. I lunged. I caught the card before it hit the water, wiped it on my sleeve, kissed it with the respect it deserved, and shoved it into my inside pocket. Silence. The kind of silence that makes you hear your own career ending. Everyone stared at me. Maribel blinked, Cassian. Callum looked offended, like I had ruined his tragic lighting. Leora's mouth opened slightly. She had the face of a girl watching a dog walk upright. I cleared my throat. Waste is immoral. A blue screen appeared in front of my eyes. Not a metaphor. A literal screen. Ding. Obsidian Meridian card accepted. Role binding complete. Current role, side character simp. New status link, Maribel Thorn labeled Villainess. Reputation field activated. I froze. Another line appeared. Warning, when the Villainess loses status, linked holder suffers penalty. Warning, when the Villainess gains status, linked holder receives credit. Warning, original tragedy route currently active. I stared at the glowing words. Then I looked at Maribel, whose eyes were shining with humiliation she was trying not to show. Then I looked at Callum and Leora, who stood there wrapped in main character lighting and unpaid bills. Of course, the first valuable thing I touched in this world was cursed. Maribel recovered first. Did you just take my card? Borrow, I said immediately. A temporary moral rescue. Callum scoffed. Pathetic. I thought the Vales had money. I patted my pocket. Warmth spread through my chest. The card felt alive, comforting in the way a tiger behind glass is comforting if the glass is very thick. We do, I said, but I respect money. That's why it likes me back. A few students snorted. The screen flashed. Reputation shift. Crowd amusement +2. Maribel humiliation, reduced by 4%. Link holder reward, 1 free breathe without anxiety. My lungs expanded. For the first time since waking up, I could breathe right. Oh, so that was the game. Ashborne Collegiate was not just a school. It was a reputation machine. Every whisper, every tear, every public speech fed an invisible system that sorted students into roles. Hero, heroine, villainess, simp, background extra, clown. And the card had chained me to the girl, labeled Villainess. Callum turned away with majestic suffering. Come on, Leora, we don't need them. Leora glanced at the card in my pocket, just for a second, but I saw it. Hunger, calculation. Annoyance, then she lowered her lashes. I hope someday Maribel learns kindness, she whispered. Ding. Heroine sympathy field, +6. Villainous reputation, -5. A sharp pain stabbed my ribs. I doubled over. Maribel grabbed my arm. Cassian, are you okay? No, I was not okay. My organs had just received a dislike button. I forced myself upright and pointed at Leora. Amazing, truly. You turned down a free card and still made yourself the victim. That is talent. Have you considered theater? The crowd went silent again. Then someone laughed. Another person coughed into their hand. Leora's eyes widened. Callum spun around. What did you say? He demanded. I smiled. Nothing expensive, relax. Ding. Crowd doubt +3. Heroine sympathy field interrupted. Villainous reputation stabilized. Rib pain gone. Important discovery. If Maribel got publicly framed, I got hurt. If I changed the crowd's interpretation, I got rewarded. So be it. In my last life, I fought landlords, managers, overdraft fees, and one evil printer that jammed every Friday. I could fight a school popularity algorithm. I turned to Maribel and gave a deep, ridiculous bow. Miss Thorn, from today forward, I will protect your dignity, your credit limit, and your public relations. In that order. Her bewildered expression was priceless. Have you hit your head? She asked. Yes, I said. In a fountain, it improved me. That was how my second life officially began. Not with destiny, not with romance, with a cursed credit card, a villainess who was not really a villain, and a school that ran on gossip like it was premium fuel. By lunch, I had learned 3 things. 1, the card could not be thrown away. I tried. It returned to my pocket with a polite ding and a warning that said abandoning contract will trigger social death event. Rude. 2, Maribel Thorn was not evil. She was sheltered, dramatic, bad at reading the room, and generous in the dangerous way rich people are when nobody has ever told them no. 3, Ashborne student body was basically a stock market with uniforms. Every interaction moved invisible numbers. Compliment from a popular student, status up. Crying in public while pretty, sympathy up. Giving money without perfect emotional packaging, arrogance score up. Existing near Callum price if your last name was Thorn, villainous threat level up. I saw the notifications everywhere. A freshman tripped and spilled coffee on a senior's shoes. Background extra embarrassment +1. A tennis captain lent a jacket to a shivering girl. Prince Aura +3. Leora sneezed softly in class, and 3 people offered tissues. Heroine fragility bonus +4. I nearly threw my pen. During lunch, Maribel sat alone at the far end of the courtyard, surrounded by designer lunch boxes and emotional damage. People looked at her, whispered, then looked away. The card warmed against my chest each time her reputation dipped. I sat across from her without asking. She looked up. What are you doing? Preventing internal bleeding. What? Nothing. Give me one of those shrimp things. Her brows knitted. This lunch is mine. And your public image is currently on fire. Feeding someone makes you look charitable. Feeding me specifically makes you look tolerant, because everyone knows I am annoying. She stared at me for a long moment. Then, to my surprise, she pushed the largest box toward me. Fine, eat, but if you call me charitable, I will stab you with a dessert fork. I opened the box and almost cried. There were foods inside I had only seen in commercials with violins. Perfect steak cubes. Rice shaped like flowers. Tiny vegetables carved into stars, because apparently carrots needed a private education too. I ate 1 bite and saw heaven checking its credit score. Maribel watched me with concern. Are you crying? No, my soul is applauding. She looked away, but the corner of her mouth twitched. Ding. Villainess RELATABLITY +2. Link holder reward. Minor digestive comfort. Excellent. I had been in this cursed book for half a day, and already received better health care than in my previous life. Then Callum and Leora crossed the courtyard. Naturally, they were sharing a cafeteria sandwich torn into 2 uneven pieces. Callum gave Leora the bigger half. She looked touched. The sunlight hit them like a sponsored post. Hero couple poverty purity bonus +8. Students nearby sighed. So romantic. They only have 1 sandwich, but they're so sincere. Unlike certain people who throw money around. Maribel flinched. My chest tightened. Absolutely not. I stood on the bench. Maribel hissed, Cassian, get down. Too late. I clapped loudly. Attention, everyone. Since we are praising poverty today, I would like to announce that I, Cassian Vale, deeply respect Callum and Leora's commitment to sharing half a sandwich while standing 12 feet away from a cafeteria that accepts scholarship meal credits. Their dedication to aesthetic suffering is truly inspirational. The courtyard froze. Callum's jaw tightened. Leora blinked rapidly. Cassian, why are you mocking us? We never asked for attention. No, you just walked through the most crowded part of campus holding one sandwich like a Renaissance painting. Honest mistake. A laugh escaped from the soccer table. Then another. The blue screen flickered. Heroine martyrdom attempt detected. Crowd interpretation split. Villainous reputation damage cancelled. Pain vanished. Maribel stared at me like I was a bomb that had learned table manners. Callum stepped closer. You think money makes you better than us? No, I said. I think lunch makes people less dramatic, big difference. Leora lowered her head. It is okay, Callum. People like them will never understand what it means to work hard. The system began to shimmer. Her words were pulling sympathy again. I jumped down from the bench and turned to the crowd. Actually, that is an excellent point. Hard work should be recognized, which is why I propose the Ashborne Student Forum create a weekly feature called Scholarship Survival Tips, starring Callum and Leora. First episode, How to Refuse Help While Still Making Sure Everyone Knows You Need It. The soccer table lost it. Even Maribel covered her mouth. Leora's expression cracked for half a second, not sadness, annoyance. Good, there she was. Callum grabbed her arm. We're leaving. They left. The courtyard buzzed behind them, but the tone had changed. Less worship, more confusion. A reputation system hates confusion. It needs simple labels. Heroine good. Villainous bad, poor noble, rich cruel. My job was to make everything complicated. Maribel waited until I sat down again before kicking my ankle under the table. Now, you are insane, she said. Accurate. Why are you helping me? Because if I do not, the story will chew us both up and spit out bones. Because you are not the villain. Because in my last life nobody helped me when systems were rigged, and I am kind of mad about it. I said none of that. Instead, I pointed at the shrimp. Because you have excellent lunch. She rolled her eyes, but she pushed another box toward me. That afternoon, I started my investigation. The Obsidian Meridian card had rules. It liked drama but hated silence. It fed on reputation changes. When Maribel gained public respect, the card added credit. Literal credit. When she lost status, it charged interest in pain, bad luck, or humiliation. At 2:13 p.m., after Leora told two girls in the restroom that Maribel had always made her feel small, the card burned hot enough to make me drop my pencil. At 2:16 p.m., someone posted on the anonymous student forum. Thorn Princess can't handle being rejected. New pet simp found. Attached was a photo of me standing on the lunch bench mid-speech, looking like a deranged auctioneer. Ding! Public mockery event. Villainous association damage, -7. Link holder penalty incoming. My chair leg snapped. I hit the floor. The class roared. Wonderful. I lay there staring at the ceiling tiles. Maribel leaned over my desk, alarmed. Cassian. I gave her a thumbs up from the floor. Still alive, chair betrayed me. The teacher rubbed his forehead. Mr. Vale, please sit in a chair that is structurally committed. The class laughed harder. The card pulsed again. Then a new message appeared. Counter-narrative available. Post-response. I blinked. A translucent keyboard appeared in the air. Oh. So the card was not only cursed, it was petty. I typed under the anonymous post. Correction. I am not Maribel Thorn's pet simp. I am an independent contractor specializing in anti-bullying, luxury lunch disposal, and unpaid reputation audits. Please direct all future slander to my office hours. I hit send. For 3 seconds, nothing happened. Then the classroom phones buzzed. Someone snorted, someone read it aloud. The laughter changed, less at me, more with me. Ding! Mockery converted to self-aware humor. Damage RDOCD. Link holder reward, chair stability restored. The chair repaired itself under my desk with a quiet click. I sat up slowly. Maribel stared. Did that chair just fix itself? Private school furniture, I said, very resilient. She narrowed her eyes. Not stupid then, good. After school, Maribel cornered me in the library's West Archive, where the books smelled like dust and donations. Tell me the truth, she said. About what? Do not play dumb. You talk like you know things before they happen. You look at empty air. You grabbed my card like it had a heartbeat, and when people insult me, you act like someone stabbed you. I considered lying. Then the card shocked me. Not painfully, just enough to say be interesting. Fine. I pulled the card out and placed it on the table. The black surface reflected neither of us. This thing is cursed, I said. It bound me to your reputation. Also, this school runs on invisible social points. Also, Callum and Leora have main character privilege. Also, if the current route continues, your future is extremely bad. Mine too. Maribel stared at me. Then she sat down. How bad? I hesitated. The original novel's ending for her was cruel enough that even remembering it made my stomach turn. But I was not going to describe every ugly detail. Some futures did not deserve narration. Bad, I said. Family destroyed, public disgrace. No one believes you. Everyone says you deserved it because the story decided you were the villain. Her face went pale. For once, Maribel Thorn had no dramatic comeback. The card displayed a line above the table. Tragedy root probability, 82%. She saw it. Her breath caught. I am not imagining that, she whispered. No, congratulations. You have unlocked premium trauma. She looked at me, eyes sharp despite the fear. And you? Backup wallet, reputation shield, disposable side character, eventually ruined. Because of Leora. Because of the whole system, she just knows how to ride it. Maribel's fingers curled into fists. I only liked Callum because he once helped me when I was being followed after a charity event. He walked me to my car. I thought he was kind. I thought if I helped him, he would see me properly. He saw your bank account very clearly. She laughed once, bitter and small. The card flickered. Villainous self-awareness +5. Tragedy root probability, 79%. Good. Self-awareness was apparently lethal to plot. Maribel leaned forward. What do we do? I had been waiting for that. I took out a notebook and wrote on the first page. Operation, make the villainess too popular to kill. Maribel read it upside down. That name is terrible. You may file a complaint with management. You are management. Unfortunately. She tapped the card, then manage better. And just like that, we became co-conspirators. Our first target was the school forum. Ashborne students pretended they were above gossip, which was adorable, because the anonymous forum had more traffic than the official school website. Rumors bloomed there like mold. Leora was very good at never posting directly. She made comments in hallways, cried in bathrooms, whispered half-sentences to sympathetic girls, and then let the crowd do the typing. Maribel, meanwhile, usually responded by buying something expensive, sending gifts, or publicly demanding apologies, which, thanks to the system, translated into arrogance, bullying, and villainous confirmation. So I cannot defend myself, she asked. You can. You just cannot defend yourself like a duchess ordering peasants to kneel. I have never ordered anyone to kneel. Your aura has. She looked offended, but she wrote it down. The next day, Leora made her move during literature class. We were discussing moral courage in some old novel nobody had read except the teacher and one girl who liked tragedy for fun. Leora raised her hand. I think moral courage means refusing comfort that costs your dignity, she said softly. Some people think kindness is giving money, but if the person receiving it feels humiliated, is it really kindness? 20 heads turned toward Maribel. Ding! Heroine indirect attack. Villainous arrogant score rising. My left eye twitched. Maribel inhaled. I could tell she wanted to say something like, if you are hungry, just say you are hungry, which would be true but fatal. I kicked her chair gently. She exhaled. Then she raised her hand. The teacher, probably expecting fireworks, looked nervous. Yes, Miss Thorn. Maribel smiled, not her usual sharp smile, a smaller one, controlled. I agree with Leora, she said. The classroom froze. Leora blinked. Maribel continued, I have been careless before. I assumed that because something was easy for me to give, it would be easy for someone else to accept. That was arrogant, so I apologized to anyone I made uncomfortable. Going forward, I would rather support school programs than put anyone on the spot. Ding! Unexpected accountability. Crowd surprise +10. Villainous arrogant score dropping. I almost stood up and applauded. Callum frowned. He did not like this. Leora liked it even less. The teacher looked moved enough to forget we were in class. That is a mature reflection, Miss Thorn. Maribel nodded. Thank you. I have been studying emotional boundaries. She glanced at me. I gave a thumbs up under the desk. 5 minutes later, the forum exploded. Did Maribel Thorn just apologize like a normal person? No way, character development arc. Cassian Vale has her in PR training, LOL. The card warmed gently. Tragedy root probability, 73%. Progress. But the system was not going to roll over and die, because Maribel learned manners. That evening as we left the library, the sky over Ashborne glitched. For half a second the sunset became a flat painted backdrop. The birds froze mid-air. A line of blue text appeared across the clouds. Plot correction event incoming. I grabbed Maribel's sleeve. What now? She asked. A scream came from the east stairwell. Students rushed over. We followed, because apparently common sense had not transmigrated with me. At the bottom of the stairs, Leora sat on the floor, ankle twisted at an elegant angle. Callum knelt beside her, furious. A spilled cup of coffee lay nearby. Maribel's monogrammed handkerchief was on the landing above. Oh, come on. Callum looked up at Maribel with murder in his eyes. You pushed her. Ding. False accusation event. If unchallenged, villainous label locks for 30 days. Penalty, link holder public disgrace. My stomach dropped. Maribel went white. I did not. I was in the library with Cassian. Leora clutched Callum's sleeve. Do not blame her. Maybe she was just angry. Maybe she did not mean to hurt me. Masterful, she denied while confirming. A poisonous cupcake. The crowd murmured. The handkerchief is hers. She apologized today, but maybe it was fake. Poor Leora. Pain punched through my ribs. I staggered but stayed standing. Think. The system loved symbols. The handkerchief, the injured heroine, the angry hero, the villainess at the top of the stairs. Classic. But this was a rich school. Rich schools had one natural predator. Security cameras. I raised my hand. Question: why are we debating like medieval villagers when there is a camera right there? Everyone looked up. A black dome camera watched the stairwell from the ceiling. Callum stiffened. Leora's grip tightened. Ding. Evidence threat detected. Heroine field destabilizing. Maribel recovered instantly. Yes, the footage will show I was not here. Leora's face turned fragile. I did not say you were, I only said maybe. Maybe is doing a lot of work, I said. Must be exhausted. A few students laughed. Callum snapped, stop making jokes, she is hurt. And Maribel is accused. Two things can be true, that is why cameras exist. We marched to the security office, with half the crowd following like ducks with phones. The footage showed exactly what I expected, and somehow worse. Leora had walked down the stairs alone, paused, looked around, then deliberately stepped on the coffee cup so it rolled under her shoe. She slipped, not enough to seriously hurt herself but enough to fall beautifully. Then a hand from off-screen tossed Maribel's handkerchief onto the landing. The hand belonged to a girl from the debate club, Priya Sato, who had once lost a student council election after Leora cried during the campaign debate. Interesting. The room was silent. Leora's eyes filled with tears, but this time the field did not glow. No one knew what category to put her in. Callum looked like someone had unplugged his brain. Maribel crossed her arms. So, did I push her with telekinesis? The security guard coughed into his fist. Ding. False accusation failed. Villainous reputation plus 18. Heroine trust. Tragedy root probability, 61%. My ribs stopped hurting, better than medicine. Leora whispered, I was scared. People were saying Maribel changed and I thought everyone would leave me behind. There it was, the pivot, from liar to wounded girl. Some students softened. The system flickered, trying to rebuild her halo. Maribel surprised me again. She did not attack. She said, being scared does not give you the right to frame me. I hope your ankle is fine. I also hope you apologize properly. Not cruel, not weak, perfect. The security guard nodded. The dean was called. Priya cried. Leora cried. Callum stood there, devastated not because Leora lied but because reality had contradicted him in public. By midnight, the forum had turned into a battlefield. Stairwell footage leaked. Maribel set herself up. Maribel Thorn Cleared. Cassian Vale, maybe is doing a lot of work lol. I should have been happy. Instead, when I got back to my dorm, the obsidian card floated out of my pocket by itself. The black surface cracked with silver light. A new notification appeared. System alert, heroine root damaged. Compensation arc initiated. Target link holder. I stared. No, I said to the empty room. Absolutely not, I refuse delivery. Ding. Delivery accepted. The lights went out. The next morning, everyone thought I had cheated. Which was impressive, because exams had not even happened yet. A post went viral before breakfast. Cassian Vale's family donated new science wing. Suddenly his grades improved, connect the dots. Attached were screenshots of my old Cassian transcript, bad grades, missed assignments. Teacher comments like capable but unfocused, which is educator language for rich disaster. The post ended with, if Maribel Thorn can buy apologies, Cassian Vale can buy marks. Ding. Compensation arc, simp discredit event. If successful, link holder LOSES counter-narrative authority. Villainous defense capacity, REDUCED by 70%. I sat in the dining hall with my toast halfway to my mouth. Maribel slammed her tray down across from me. Who did this? Good morning to you too. Not now. I checked the forum again. The replies were multiplying. Maybe he is funny because he knows money protects him. I heard Vale tutors do his assignments. Rich kids always fail upward. My chest tightened, but not because of the card. This one was personal. In my old life, I had worked until my hands shook. I had studied under flickering lights. I had been poor and still accused of being lazy. Now I was rich and accused of buying effort. Different costume, same insult. I put the toast down. We are not just denying this, I said. We are turning it into a public execution. Academically, legally, emotionally if needed. Maribel's eyes lit up, finally. Not with money. Her face fell. With proof. The school was preparing for midterms in 3 weeks, perfect timing. I went to the dean and requested to take a monitored diagnostic exam in every core subject, live streamed to the student council room, with teachers grading it on the spot. The dean stared at me. Mr. Vale, that is excessive. So is slander before coffee. Maribel added, if the school refuses, it implies the school doubts its own grading process. My father will have questions. I gave her a look. She lifted her hands. What? That was not money, that was institutional accountability. Fine, growth takes time. By Friday, the event had become the biggest academic circus in Ashborne history. Students packed the council room. Others watched through the school portal. Teachers looked annoyed but secretly excited. Nothing spices up private education like a rich kid volunteering for public suffering. Leora sat in the front row with her ankle wrapped, face pale and noble. Callum sat beside her, arms crossed. Maribel stood behind me like a very expensive bodyguard. The exam began. Math first. In my last life, I had done spreadsheets until numbers haunted my dreams. Calculus was not scary. Calculus had rules. People were worse. I solved the problems fast. Too fast, maybe. The room got quieter with every page. English next, then economics, then history, then a surprise logic section because my math teacher was a menace and wanted entertainment. By the end, my hand cramped. My soul left my body, returned, saw the last essay question and tried to leave again. The teachers graded in front of everyone. Math 98. Economics 100. History 94. English 96. Logic 100, with a note from the math teacher that said finally someone awake. The room exploded. Ding. Discredit event failed. Link holder authority plus 25. Villainous defense capacity protected. Tragedy root probability 49%. Below 50. I nearly collapsed. Maribel grabbed my sleeve, grinning so hard she forgot to look elegant. You are actually smart, she said. Try not to sound shocked. I am very shocked. Thank you for your honesty, it hurts. Then Leora stood. The room quieted. She walked forward slowly, every step careful. Cassian, I am sorry people doubted you. I know how painful rumors can be. I hope now you understand how Maribel made others feel when she used her power carelessly. Incredible. She had turned my exoneration into a lecture against Maribel. The system flickered, searching for an angle. I smiled. Thank you, Leora. That reminds me. Since we all agree rumors are harmful, would you like to publicly support the dean's investigation into the anonymous account that started both the stairwell accusation and today's cheating rumor? Her expression froze. Callum stood. Are you accusing her again? No, I am inviting her to stand against rumors. Very heroic opportunity. The crowd waited. Leora was trapped. If she refused, she looked suspicious. If she agreed, the investigation advanced. She smiled with trembling lips. Of course, I support the truth. Ding. Heroine committed to investigation. Escape ROUTES, REDUCED. Maribel whispered, "You are terrifying." I whispered back, "I learned from customer service." The investigation did not take long. Ashborne students thought anonymous meant invisible. They forgot school Wi-Fi had logs and teenagers had terrible password habits. The anonymous account belonged to 3 people. Priya Sato, the debate girl from the stairwell. Nolan Greer, Callum's roommate. And Leora Bell. Technically, Leora had not typed the worst posts. She had logged in, saved drafts, fed phrases, and then let the other 2 hit publish. Plausible deniability with a ribbon on it. The dean called all involved students to the auditorium, because at this point the entire school was invested, and pretending otherwise would be comedy. Leora cried. Priya cried louder. Nolan tried to say he was protecting Callum. Callum kept repeating, Leora would never hurt anyone, despite standing in front of a projector filled with evidence that Leora had hurt several people with grammar. The dean's face aged 5 years and 20 minutes. Maribel stood beside me, perfectly calm. That was new. Old Maribel would have demanded expulsion, lawsuits, maybe a commemorative plaque reading "I told you so." New Maribel waited until the dean asked if she wanted to speak. She walked to the microphone. The auditorium held its breath. "I used to think being misunderstood meant I had the right to be cruel back," Maribel said. "I was wrong. I do want an apology. I do want consequences, but I do not want revenge. I want this school to stop rewarding people for performing pain while causing it." The room was quiet. Even the system went quiet. Then the screen appeared. Villainess label fracturing. Public perception shift, respect plus 31. Tragedy root probability, 34%. I felt the card loosen around my fate like a tie finally being untied. Leora looked up through tears. For the first time, she seemed less like a villain and more like a girl who had built her entire survival strategy around being pitied and did not know who she was without it. "I was scared," she whispered. Maribel nodded. "So was I just had worse packaging." That got a small laugh. The dean assigned suspensions, public apologies, forum restrictions, and mandatory service hours with the school ethics committee, which sounded like punishment enough. Callum was not punished for the posts, but he received a formal warning for threatening students and interfering with investigations. He took it badly. Very badly. 2 days later, the system launched its ugliest event yet. It happened at the Founders Gala, because of course it did. Ashbourne's Founders Gala was not a school event. It was a wealth parade with string music. Parents arrived in black cars. Students wore formal clothes. Teachers smiled the haunted smiles of people forced to mingle with donors. Maribel wore a deep green dress and looked like old money had learned sarcasm. I wore a suit that cost more than my former apartment's annual rent and tried not to breathe on it. The obsidian card had been quiet all evening. Too quiet. Around 9, Callum walked onto the central stage. Not scheduled. Bad sign. He took the microphone from a confused MC and looked out over the ballroom. "I have something to say," he announced. Maribel stiffened beside me. Leora, standing near the back in a simple white dress, looked alarmed, maybe genuinely. Maybe not, hard to tell with professionals. Callum's voice shook with righteous anger. "This school claims to value merit, but students like me are expected to bow to families like Thorn and Vale. We are punished when we refuse their control. We are humiliated when we speak up. Tonight, I refuse to be silent." Ding. Major plot correction event. Hero public declaration. Targets Maribel Thorn, Cassian Vale, donor class. The ballroom murmured. Callum continued, getting stronger as attention fed him. Maribel Thorn tried to buy my loyalty. Cassian Vale mocked poverty like it was entertainment. When Leora made mistakes, they used their influence to destroy her. This is not justice. This is rich people protecting rich people. Pain slammed into my chest. Maribel grabbed my arm. Her face was pale but furious. The system glowed brighter than ever. Hero moral outrage field, +40. Crowd guilt activated. Villainous label reconstructing. This was dangerous. Adults were different. Students loved memes, but parents loved moral speeches, especially ones that let them feel noble while still wearing diamonds. Callum pointed toward us. If Ashborne has any integrity, it will stop letting money decide who is believed. Applause started, scattered but growing. The card burned against my chest. For one wild second, I considered rushing the stage and tackling him. Effective? Maybe. Elegant? No. Also assault charges. Think. He had framed the issue perfectly. Rich versus poor, power versus merit. If we argued from wealth, we lost. If Maribel defended herself emotionally, villainous. If I joked, insensitive. So we needed a third frame. Transparency. I took out the obsidian card. It was hot enough to smoke. Can you project? I whispered. Ding. Request requires payment. Charge it to my dignity. Payment accepted. Rude. The ballroom lights flickered. The giant screen behind Callum, previously showing the Ashborne crest, went black. Then it displayed the words. Ashborne Reputation Field Ledger. Every hidden score appeared. Not just ours, everyone's. Hero aura, sympathy bonus, wealth resentment, villainous threat, martyrdom multiplier. Crowd guilt, donor bias, scholarship purity, beauty halo, family influence, forum echo. The ballroom died. Callum turned slowly and stared at the screen. Parents gasped. Students shouted. Teachers looked like they wanted to resign retroactively. I walked toward the stage, every step feeling like my ribs were negotiating surrender. Callum is right about one thing, I said, taking the second microphone from the MC who was too stunned to stop me. This school does let power decide who is believed, but it is not just money power. It is beauty power, pity power, hero power, last name power. Performance power. The system rewards whoever fits the cleanest story. The ledger shifted. Callum's hero moral outrage field flashed beside him. I pointed at it. See that? Every time he sounds noble, the crowd wants to forgive whatever facts are inconvenient. Then I pointed at Maribel's villainous threat score. And every time Maribel speaks too sharply, the system turns it into proof that she is cruel, even when she is telling the truth. Leora's sympathy bonus pulsed near the back of the room. She stared at it like a mirror she hated. I continued, I am not asking you to like us. I am asking you to notice when your reactions were assigned before anyone spoke. The ballroom remained silent. Then Maribel stepped up beside me. No notes, no panic, just her. I did try to give Callum money when he did not want it, she said. That was wrong. I apologized. I changed. But refusing my help did not make him incapable of using me as a villain whenever he needed sympathy. Being poor does not make someone pure. Being rich does not make someone guilty. We are people, not roles. Ding. Core script contradiction detected. Villainous label critical damage. Tragedy root probability, 18%. Callum's face twisted. This is another trick. You expect everyone to believe a magic screen. No, I said. I expect everyone to believe patterns. The screen just made them visible. Leora walked forward then. Her steps were slow. Callum looked relieved. Leora, tell them. For a second, I thought she would. I thought the plot would yank her back into place. but she looked at the ledger above her head. Sympathy bonus, fragility shield, tears amplifier. Her mouth trembled. "I am tired," she whispered. The microphone caught it. Everyone heard. She looked at Callum. "I am tired of crying so people will protect me. I am tired of being forgiven because I look breakable. I did wrong. Maribel did not make me do it. Cassian did not make me do it. You defending me no matter what did not help me. It just made me worse." Callum stared at her like she had spoken another language. The ledger flickered violently. Heroine rolled destabilized. Self-admission event. Script integrity, 41%. Maribel exhaled beside me. I had not expected Leora to save us. Maybe she was not saving us. Maybe she was saving herself. Callum dropped the microphone. It hit the stage with a shriek of feedback. The screen shattered into blue sparks. The obsidian card cracked down the center. Ding! Major root collapse. Tragedy root probability, 5%. Contract NEAR release. Then I fainted. Not my proudest moment. When I woke up, I was in the nurse's office with a blanket over me and Maribel sitting beside the bed, peeling an orange with the intensity of a surgeon. "You fainted dramatically," she said. "I prefer heroically. You fell into a decorative fern. Nature caught me." She handed me an orange slice. "The gala is chaos. Parents are demanding audits. The dean keeps saying he needs a drink. Leora publicly apologized to me, then went home." Callum left before the event ended. And the magic social nightmare. Maribel looked toward my nightstand. The obsidian card lay there split almost in half. Its black surface was dull now, like normal plastic. A faint message hovered above it. Final release condition. Villainess must refuse role without seeking approval. I read it twice. That sounds suspiciously like emotional growth. Maribel groaned, disgusting. "Can you do it?" She did not answer immediately. For weeks we had fought rumors, fields, roles, public perception. But refusing the role without seeking approval meant something harder. No proving, no performing, no begging the crowd to clap. Just walking away. The next Monday, Ashborne held an emergency assembly. The dean stood at the podium looking like a man who had spent the weekend learning that his school was haunted by social media metaphysics. He announced forum reforms, investigation committees, counseling resources, and a review of scholarship support systems so students would not have to rely on private charity or public pity. Very official, very overdue. Then he invited Maribel to speak. A month ago, she would have marched up like a queen ready to sentence peasants. This time she walked calmly. The auditorium watched her with complicated eyes, some guilty, some curious, some still waiting for her to snap so they could feel comfortable hating her again. Maribel adjusted the microphone. "I used to care too much about what this school called me," she said. "Princess, villain, spoiled, desperate. I fought those names by acting exactly like them. That was stupid." A ripple of startled laughter moved through the seats. She smiled faintly. "I liked Callum because I wanted to believe being chosen by someone who rejected my money would prove I was more than my money. That was also stupid." More laughter, softer this time. Callum was not in the auditorium. Leora was sitting near the back, face bare, no tears. Maribel continued, "I am sorry to the people I made uncomfortable. I am not sorry for existing loudly. I am not sorry for being rich or ambitious or difficult. I will learn to be kinder. I will not learn to be smaller. If this school needs a villainess, find someone else. I quit." Silence. Then applause. Not the enchanted kind. Not the system dragging hands together. Real applause, uneven and human. The obsidian card in my pocket split fully in half. Ding! Villainess role refused. Contract released. Reputation field admin access terminated. Tragedy root probability, 0%. For the first time since I arrived, the blue screen disappeared and did not come back. I should have felt free. I did. But weirdly, I also felt unemployed. After the assembly, Maribel found me under the old oak tree behind the library, where I was mourning the loss of magic credit rewards and eating vending machine chips I had paid for with normal money. Tragic downgrade. She sat beside me. So, she said, no more cursed card. I held up the two cracked halves, dead like my first bank account. Are you happy? Very. Slightly concerned about having to solve problems without supernatural notifications, but very. She leaned back against the tree. What happens now? That was the question. In the original plot, Callum would rise, Leora would stand beside him, Maribel would fall, and Cassian would be emptied out and thrown away. But that road had collapsed. Now there was just school, exams, parents, futures, awkward conversations, real choices. Much scarier. Now, I said, you study. She turned her head slowly. Excuse me. Your public image survived. Congratulations. Your grades remain a humanitarian concern. I gave a powerful speech today. The SAT does not care. You are heartless. I am practical. Also, I have seen your calculus homework. Someone has to intervene. She threw a chip at me. Over the next months, Ashborne changed in small, annoying, real ways. The forum lost anonymous posting. Half the student body complained like free speech had died, when really they just hated signing their names to nonsense. The school created a transparent emergency fund for scholarship students, which meant Callum no longer had to rely on rich girls he resented or speeches he enjoyed too much. The ethics committee became popular for about a week, then boring, which was the healthiest possible outcome. Leora kept her distance at first. Then one afternoon, she approached Maribel in the library. I was there because Maribel and I had a study schedule. And by study schedule, I mean I guarded her phone like a prison warden while she negotiated with algebra. Leora stood awkwardly by the table. No tears, no soft voice, just tired. I wanted to apologize again, she said, not publicly, just for real. Maribel looked at her for a long moment. Okay. I was jealous, Leora said. Of your money, yes, but also because you could be angry. I always had to be good. Poor but good, sweet but good, grateful but good. When you were terrible, people still looked at you. When I was terrible, I had to hide it. Maribel tapped her pen against her notebook. That does not excuse you. I know. But I understand it, a little. Leora nodded. I am going to transfer next semester, start over somewhere less theatrical. Good luck, Maribel said. It was not friendship. It was not forgiveness wrapped in music. It was something more useful, an ending with no audience. Callum did not apologize. Of course he did not. He avoided us, studied, worked part-time through the official school fund, and glared whenever our paths crossed. Without the hero aura, he was still smart, still proud, still handsome in a brooding utility bill kind of way. But he was no longer inevitable. That mattered. As for me, I remained Cassian Vale, rich boy with a poor soul and a deep fear of wasting coupons. My parents were thrilled by my academic turnaround and mildly concerned by my sudden interest in budgeting. My father caught me comparing cereal prices online and asked if I had joined a cult. My mother cried when I told her leftovers were not shameful. Rich people needed help. Maribel's parents liked me because their daughter stopped chasing Callum and started yelling about market ethics, brand reputation, and calculus. Mr. Thorn once grabbed my hand and said, "Whatever you did to make her study, Name your price. I said a gaming console. He bought me 3. I nearly called him father. Maribel never let me forget it. You looked more emotional opening that console than when the curse broke, she said. The curse never had limited edition controllers. By finals, Maribel had climbed from academic disaster with great shoes to respectable menace with flashcards. I took first in our year, which caused my teachers to act proud and my old Cassian memories to act offended. On the last day of term, Maribel dragged me back to the fountain where I had first woken up. Terrible place, wet memories. She held out a slim black card. I jumped back, absolutely not. She laughed. Relax, it is normal, no curse, no soul binding, just a prepaid card. That is what the last one wanted me to think. Cassian. Maribel. She rolled her eyes and pressed it into my hand. No screen appeared. No ding. No pain. Just a normal card with my name engraved on it. It is for your consulting work, she said. Anti-romance consultant, reputation auditor. Lunch disposal specialist, whatever title you prefer. I looked at the card. My throat tightened in an embarrassing way. In my last life, gifts always came with hooks. Help came with judgment. Money came with panic. But Maribel stood there pretending not to care, cheeks faintly pink, offering payment for work she knew no invoice could explain. You know, I said, you do not have to buy loyalty. Her expression softened. I know, this is not loyalty, this is appreciation, very different accounting category. I laughed. Then I tucked the card into my pocket. Accepted temporarily, for moral reasons. Of course. We stood by the fountain while students streamed around us, gossiping about summer plans, internships, family trips, college prep. Normal things, human things. Maribel looked at the water. Do you ever miss your old life? I had told her enough that she knew there had been one. Not every detail, just enough. I thought about the vending machine, the rent, the office lights at midnight, the empty fridge, the feeling that I could vanish and the world would only notice when my emails bounced. Sometimes, I said, not the suffering, just the proof that I survived it. She nodded like she understood more than she should. Then survive this one better, she said. I looked at her, bossy. Ambitious, she corrected. Same thing, but I was not stupid enough to say that out loud. The fountain glittered in the sun. No magic, no plot, no invisible numbers deciding who deserved sympathy or punishment. Just Maribel Thorn, no longer a villainess. Just Cassian Vale, no longer a disposable simp. The story had tried to make us side characters in someone else's romance. It gave us labels, penalties, tragic endings, and one extremely cursed credit card. Unfortunately for the story, I had 27 years of poverty instincts, terrible impulse control, and a deep respect for free lunch. So I picked up the card. I broke the script. And this time, when Maribel and I walked away from the fountain, nobody's role followed us. And tell me in the comments, if you found a cursed black card on the floor, would you pick it up? If you like sequels, I have an idea for one.